There is a new powerful bloc forming on the horizon. Autocrats from all across the globe are cozying up to each other, resolving differences and focusing on their shared values. These include growing very domesticated journalists, ambition for territorial expansion, and the wish to challenge the Western hegemony with its perverted democratic institutions and elections supervised by Satan. How big is this new alliance of awesome? Who's in it? And most importantly, who's gonna come out of it as the leader of the unfree world? Welcome to the last show where we monitor the end of the world from a secret bunker in Eastern Europe. We got a comment from Zeno Bonacer or Bonacer that said, "Ha ha ha, I think Russia and China will control the whole world." So Zeno, we've looked into it and the bromance is now being joined by Saudi Arabia, a kingdom so magical, many people lose their heads over it. It's great to see Russians and Saudis overcoming their completely opposite attitudes towards alcohol and coming to the conclusion that in both countries, drinking will kill you. So they're not so different after all. The Saudis, traditionally allied to the US, have been increasingly driven away due to disagreements with the Biden administration and the irritable lack of floggings in American culture, with the sole exception of Ellen's backstage. The Chinese, who are at the center of this new growing alliance of awesome, are even managing to slowly bridge the gap between Saudis and their traditional nemesis.
This is the first high-level contact between the two regional heavyweights in 7 years. Iran and Saudi Arabia agreeing to reopen embassies and consulates in each other's countries. These are the first significant steps towards normalization since the two restored relations last month. The deal was brokered by China as it seeks a new role as a global peacemaker.
Yes, China is surprisingly competent at bringing Muslims together. Well, it's not that surprising. It seems the Saudi and Iranian regimes are gonna be able to put down their differences and focus on what they share, like treating women as second-class citizens, repressing dissent, and terrorizing children. Together, these powerful regimes are forming the new axis of medieval, and they're already gaining traction among small dictators across the world. Bashar Assad of Syria is a long-time groupie, as is Serdar Bozhuleh, etc. of Turkmenistan. And of course, we also have the supreme leader who never has a bad hair day, as well as Putin's plumber. However, the axis is now even reaching out to wannabe dictators. The Saudi foreign minister says relations with India are the top priority, and Narendra Modi definitely sure seems to be willing to give despotism a chance.
India's growing crackdown on dissent, including farmers' protests, internet shutdowns, online censorship, and the jailing of activists, is ringing authoritarian alarm bells. Is democracy being dismantled in Narendra Modi's India?
Solid yep from Eastern Europe, mate. That sounds like it's from Stalin's playbook, with the sole exception that Stalin actually never censored anyone on the internet. Gotta give credit where credit's due. Even leaders of Brazil and South Africa want to get some of that Axis juice. It's gonna be wild. But one question remains. All these autocracies are led by incredibly ambitious and charismatic leaders with almost unlimited powers. So, which of these men will be the leader of the unfree world? To help us figure out this billion-dollar question, we're joined right now by our senior gold-digging expert, Eva.
Thanks for having me. Well, not really having me. You can't really afford me. But maybe some of these wealthy and powerful men can afford me.
Eva, please, give us a rundown of the pros and cons of each of these potential leaders, and start with the one that's closest to your heart.
Well, that's gotta be our Vlad, because he's a Slav. Some would even say he's the greatest Slav of all. He drinks vodka, rides bears, and is currently Europe's greatest conqueror. But then we have Xi Jinping, whose main pro is that he is the bear that Putin is riding. He's also the leader of 1.4 billion people, of whom he keeps track on China's communist Facebook, where you don't get a friend request, but a comrade requisition. Also, he's a poet, and that's a sure shortcut to a lady's heart. The people mourn the loss of a caring official, tears flooding under the empress trees he planted.
Okay, I
Having
think that's enough for us to move on.
Okay. Because our next potential leader of the unfree world is super young, super rich, and a feminist reformer.
Really? Mohammed bin Salman, a feminist reformer? What did he do?
Well, he let women drive.
Well, that's a bar, I guess. What about that Iranian guy?
Yeah, he's cool. He wears the same hats as I do.
I like hats.
His Holiness, the Supreme Leader, Ali Khamenei, this old, wise, classy gentleman is like the Islamic Gandalf if he was played by a cloud of ashes from a burning American flag. This man leads one of the oldest and most fascinating civilizations on the planet. He's sitting on the throne of Cyrus the Great, Darius the Great, and Xerxes, the guy from 300. His eyes say mystery, and his portraits are everywhere. And I could be up there with him.
Thank you, Eva. That was thorough. However, please let us know in the comments who you think should be the leader of the unfree world. And if you need an argument for Vladimir Putin, just watch this video about why he's already the leader of NATO.